Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about changing the way you do your big heavy compounds, and in some cases your isolation movements, in order to break through plateaus. And I'm going to give you guys some examples. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Because one of the problems you see a lot of guys get in the gym, and we're all guilty of this sometimes, letting our egos get the best of us, and us using techniques and forms and ranges of motion on our exercise that led us to lift a heavier weight without factoring in that lifting a heavier weight, if you've changed the leverages or changed the work you've done to do it, isn't actually stimulating any more muscle growth. You're not getting bigger, you're not getting stronger from it. And that's a point that people need to remember. Muscles get bigger and stronger by forcing them to work harder. And increasing the weight doesn't automatically guarantee you're going to work harder. There are times when you actually work harder with a lighter weight. And that has to do with changing the way you're doing exercises. So what I would say to people, stop and think about some of the exercises you do and ask, is the range of motion I'm using or the technique I'm using allowing me to cheat and use a lot more weight while working the muscles less effectively? Like on your bench press. Are you using a really wide grip bench press? You arching a lot to bring the range of motion in so that you're doing less work? You doing touch and go? Is your touch and go really touch and go, or is it bouncing? You bouncing and lifting your ass off the bench? Okay? If you're doing any of those things, you're not working your chest, triceps, any of that any harder. And if those muscles are lagging, that's probably your problem. That is probably your problem. People say, well, what do you do about it? Well, increase the range of motion. Yeah, you can't lift as much weight. Bring your hands in. If you're out here and your chest and your triceps are lagging, bring yourself into shoulder width. Do a closed grip bench press. Do a closed grip bench press and pause with it on your chest. Now, a lot of guys are going to go, I can't do that. I tried to do that before. I've been benching 275 for sets of 5, and I tried that, and I can barely do 225 for 1 rep. Well, so what then? Then drop down to 205 and do reps with it. Why? Because you're going to work harder. That's the whole point. That should let you know that you're not really truly lifting that weight through an appreciable range of motion. You don't have starting strength, any of that. If you're losing 50 pounds off of a lift and losing reps, then that should tell you something about where your real strength is. Are you ego lifting, or are you actually in there building size and strength with what you're doing? There's a big difference between the two. And why pause? Because pausing and starting a weight from a dead stop requires more muscle fiber recruitment. Bouncing weights recruits less muscle fibers, okay? You're letting inertia bounce everything else do the work for you. You're letting cushioning on your chest bounce a weight up, and the inertia, the negative, to do the work for you. You're not really lifting that weight, and you're using it to cheat through the hardest part of the exercise, the part of the exercise that recruits the most muscle fibers. If you pause there, you're going to work a hell of a lot harder. Hell of a lot harder. And by bringing the hands in, you increase the range of motion. Okay? The range of motion is longer. You add several inches easily to the range of motion doing a closed grip versus a wide grip. All right? You're doing more work with every rep. You get a lot of guys do a lot of heavy benching, then they wonder why their wrists and other stuff hurt. Maybe it's because you're using a heavier weight than you're actually capable of lifting. You know, that actually does beat up joints and everything. You're loading them with heavier weights than you're actually really capable of lifting. You're not doing yourself any favors there. You wonder why you get sore. You wonder why you have connective tissue and joint inflammation and stuff. Maybe that's a big part of it. And I'm all for people getting strong. If you're strong enough to lift a heavy weight, then by all means do so. If you can lift an extremely heavy weight on an exercise with good form, full range of motion, and you've built up to that, then by all means carry on. But when you're loading yourself up with weights that you can't really handle, it leads to injuries, leads to overuse injuries, leads to inflammation. All it is growing your ego. Other examples, your upper chest isn't growing. Well, look at the way you're overhead pressing. Yeah, I mean, incline work is great. Incline work is great, but overhead pressing can build a pretty impressive upper chest. And overhead pressing will make you strong. Standing overhead pressing, you get strong at that, you're going to be all around strong. It's like a deadlift will make you all around strong. A standing press will make you strong. How far down are you going? You coming all the way down and pausing on top of your shoulders up here on the collarbone? Or you stopping here? Coming all the way down? Coming all the way down, your chest is going to grow. You get stronger through that bottom part, and you stop on your top of your collarbone up here every time. You stop at the top of your chest or at your shoulders with the bar, and you pause with it there for a 1 count. and you get strong at doing that, your upper chest is going to start growing again. Okay, yeah, it's harder. Yeah, you can't lift as much weight. You're going to get bigger. You're going to get stronger. How about your deadlifts? Back, hamstrings, and glutes aren't growing fast enough. Maybe you're bouncing at the bottom of your deadlifts. Maybe you're bouncing at the bottom of your deadlifts. Reset the bar on every rep. Reset the bar on every rep. Leave it on the floor for a full second, 2 seconds between reps. Do that. Watch how fast your hamstrings and glutes and entire back start growing again. That's not working. Why don't you try doing it at a deficit? Guys go, what? You use less weight. Yeah, you use less weight, but you get a deeper stretch at the bottom. You're forced to explode out of the bottom at the hardest part, and it gets even harder when you're standing on top of plates. When you add another 2 inches or 3 inches to the range of motion, and you have to move that deadlift another 2 or 3 inches through the hardest part, you work harder, you get a deeper stretch. Watch how fast your hamstrings and back start growing again. Particularly you do it with a pause at the bottom. Guys would be like, well, I mean, I was bouncing 500 pounds for 2 or 3 reps off the floor. Now I'm stuck doing 405. I'm stuck doing 385. Well, so what? You're going to get bigger and stronger. Weight on the bar isn't everything. And I'm all for adding weight to the bar. I'm all about strength. But I'm talking about building strength, not demonstrating fake strength, guys. Not showing off your ego at the gym. That's why people get lagging points. That's why you're developing weak points. Alright, you're not doing exercises through the full range of motion. Alright, you're cheating too much. Instead of letting the muscles actually that are the primary movers, whether it's 3 or 4 of them in some exercises, do the work. You're using cheating to get it done. Drive weights from a dead stop. How about your pull-ups and chin-ups? Try bringing the grip in on them. You know, if your back isn't growing fast enough, if your biceps aren't growing slow enough, you may not need to add in a third set of type of curls in there. That may not be your problem. Although you might not be coming all the way down on your curls, that may be causing lagging biceps. Try bringing your grip in more. Bring your grip in more. You have to move your body through a longer range of motion. Try pausing at the bottom. Do them from a dead hang at the bottom. If your biceps are lagging and you bring into a narrower grip and you stretch at the bottom and you do every chin up from a dead hang, I promise you your biceps will start growing again. If you start getting stronger at doing that, you're putting a deep stretch on your biceps and you're having to use them to get your whole body moving out of the bottom. Alright, they will grow. You're probably already doing enough sets of curls. Alright, a lot of guys are like, well, I'm doing 2 different types of curls and my biceps aren't growing, but then they're half repping their chin-ups. Same thing with your back in general. If your back's not growing enough, follow those tips I gave on the deadlift. Bring your grip in further on your chin-ups and pull-ups, or switch over to chin-ups even. Get a deeper stretch. Work your back through a longer range of motion with a heavy weight. And when I say a heavy weight, I mean a weight that you can use good form with, weights that you can pause with. In other words, if you can't do a weighted chin-up out of the bottom from a deep stretch at the bottom and hold it for 1 count in the bottom and pull yourself up, you're cheating. What I mean a heavy weight with good form is that you can do that. You can't pause with a closed grip onto your chest for 2 seconds before you press it without your ass leaving the bench. Alright, that's too heavy. You're cheating. You're lifting with your ego. You should be able to do your exercises through a full range of motion, with pauses if you have to at the bottom of exercises. And when you're doing that and getting stronger at doing those things, a lot of these weak points start to disappear because you're actually working them. People are oftentimes developing weak points not because they're not isolating a muscle enough, it's because the way they're doing their compound movements aren't utilizing a lot of those muscles to their fullest potential. If you're not utilizing a muscle to its fullest potential in the big exercise you're doing, the ones that put most of the size on you, because isolation movements are refinement movements. They're to bring up a little bit of weak points here and there. And they do work for that. But they're never going to be your primary muscle builders. Alright? You're letting those muscles lag because you're not using them effectively. You're not working them effectively and making them work hard on your big compounds. Okay, the stuff that really adds the size on you. And there are easy solutions to that. All the solutions I just gave you guys are easy fixes. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.